WFM 91.7.
WFM 91.7. A very beautiful afternoon to you. Well, a rainy one at that, because where we are, it's actually rainy, which means the day is going to be good and cool. All right. So hopefully we get to have the best of today. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser, and of course, this is about 7 minutes after 12 on this very beautiful Sunday afternoon. And today, which is the 26th day in the month of November 2023, is the second day of our 16 days of activism. Yesterday, we started off the 16 days of activism, where we brought a first responder to you yesterday who talked about her challenges, talked about the way forward, and how we should move on in supporting gender-based violence survivors. All right, so you know that the 16 days of activism, of course, is here. Started yesterday from 25th of November down to 10th of December. All right, so yesterday was the first day, and today is the second day of the 16 days of activism. Now, the theme for this year's activism, 16 days of activism, is Unite, Invest to Prevent Violence Against Women and Girls. The 16 days of activism is a global campaign which will be on from yesterday, of course, down to 10th of December, which is the Human Rights Day. And WFM is here spotlighting first responders who provide first-hand help and support to survivors of sexual gender-based violence. All right, so to join the conversation today, you can dial 07000 917 917, send a text or a WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. All right, so that is the number to join the conversation today. Either you send me a text or a WhatsApp message on 070 317 56537, or do want to call me up on 07000 917 917. Our social media platforms, of course, are there for you to send in your contributions: Facebook, Instagram, X, and of course YouTube at WFM 917. You can also log on to our website www.wfm917.com. You can also download our mobile app WFM 917. All right, so today, the second day of the 16 days of activism, of course, we'll be discussing first-hand responder story, work done so far, successes, challenges, and way forward in ending violence against women and girls. All right, so let's go ahead and meet our first responder today, which is Tolulope Oguntayo. All right, and of course, she is the founder of Lead Footprints Africa. Good afternoon, Tolulope. How are you today?
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Tolulope, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you with me here?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, great. So, I can hear you. So just speak up a bit, so we can hear you more clearly.
All right. Is it more clear?
Yes, this is much better. All right, thank you so much, Tolulope. How have you been? How is the 16 days of activism starting up where you are?
Thank you so much. So, I've been great, and I've been seeing a lot of online posters, flyers around the 16 days activism, and I'm also planning to put up some stuff one of these days. And I am also a part of an international conference coming up in December. So we are working towards commemorating the 16 days of activism in Abuja and Enugu.
All right, so that really sounds interesting. All right, so just in case you're joining us, this is Women Radio WFM 91.7, and we have with us Tolulope Oguntayo, and she's the founder, Lead Footprints Africa. All right, and she's our first responder for today, the second day in the 16 days of activism. All right, so let's head on straight to the discussion of the day. Now, as an organization, how have you been responding to gender-based violence so far, especially in the locality where your organization is based?
Thank you so much for that question. So far, so good. We have been connecting survivors of gender-based violence with organizations. So I work with a number of organizations that provides that offer different services to gender-based violence survivors, right? So sometimes we contact some of them for legal support. We contact some of them for medical attention. And sometimes we also reach out to authorized officials and governments that help us with cases. And I have quite a number of police officers, lawyers, and medical doctors who I reach out to, depending on the location of the survivor. So it's not just even in the locality where I am currently based in, or where the organization is based in, that we work.
Okay.
We have been able to help survivors around across the 36 states of Nigeria. Different sometimes we have different cases from different states, and even if I am not present there, I try as much as possible to connect them with other organizations that do what we do and provide that support to them.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tolope, for that. Now, let's hear your experience so far in dealing with survivors of gender-based violence. What are some of the common perception and facts about dealing, with survivors of gender-based violence?
Yeah. So far so good, right? I must say that dealing with gender-based violence survivors has not been that smooth ride, because of it has to as a first responder, you would go through the emotions that they are going through, especially when they are sharing their experience with you. And I can say for a fact that some of them are naive. Some of them can be scared so much that they just want to share with you as a first responder, and they'll tell you, see, I am not even pursuing anything. I don't need any help. I don't want you to go as far as, contacting anybody for me. I'm just going to be fine. I just want somebody to believe me that I went through this phase, right? And I would say that there are some particular ways that I've seen people respond to gender-based violence survivors, and I'm like, sometimes I publish content on these things, and I'm trying to educate the public about it. That whenever you see somebody who has gone through this menace, you are not supposed to blame them. You are not supposed to ask them, why did you go there? Or you are not supposed to say, oh, what were you wearing? And all of those things that people say. I believe for a fact that whether what you are wearing or where you go to, you do not deserve to be molested.
Yeah.
You do not deserve to be violated. So I would say that the experience has been something that is back and forth,
Okay.
especially when I could remember there was a particular case like that we were on, and we were already halfway, but the survivor just said, see, I'm not doing anymore. I don't think I can pursue this. I don't think, and we cannot force such a person to, pursue justice and say, okay, let's still go. However, we have some cases that we were able to get, justice served,
Okay.
and those kind of people, they were served justice.
All right. At the end of the day, it's about responding to the survivors, which I think you have actually gone far in doing, despite some of the challenges. Now, let's dwell a little bit on the challenges, which we know can be overwhelming. Just like you started, telling us. Now, especially for with the lack of adequate funds right now, societal norms have existed for years. How have you been able to overcome these challenges so far in your journey as a first responder organization?
Thank you so much. So one of the things I really admire about advocacy is that as long as you can connect with people who are passionate about the cause, it makes it easier for you to collaborate and execute, right? So one of the best ways I have been able to ground myself in this cause is to collaborate with other advocates. Currently, I recently launched a community where advocates of gender-based violence can just come in and connect with one another. So we are not far from each other. We have each other's contact, and we can be able to say, okay, I don't have these resources to help this person. Does anyone have that resources? You can drop that on the page, and then anyone who has such resources can, signify, and from there you can be able to do whatever you want to do as an advocate. So one of the ways I have been able to overcome that challenge is ensuring that I collaborate with other advocates. Like this course is not for my personal gain, right? It's
Yeah.
for people who are out there. So I ensure that I connect with other advocates. Another thing that I feel like has been really, really helpful for me is having resource persons. So I don't do this alone. I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation that I have contact of lawyers, I have contact of medical doctors, I have contact from different aspects, right? Different fields that I know that are relevant to this course. So this resource persons makes it easier. Sometimes when I am stuck on a case, I kind of just reach out to these people and I'm like, I'm stuck on this case. I don't know what to do. Do you have somebody I can reach out to, and all of those things? And so it just makes it easier for us to educate. And I also have put up a platform where people can donate, and we call it the emergency fund for DBV survivors. So anytime someone just feel like, okay, they want to give to this cause, you can just donate, and this money are used for their health care. They're used to, sign them up for therapy and also get legal aid for them.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tolulope. This is Women Radio WFM 91.7, 17 minutes after 12. Please do well to dial 07000 917 917. Send us a text or a WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537. Let's get to hear, your concerns, your questions if you have for first respondents to gender-based survivors, okay? Gender-based violence survivors. So let's get to hear your comments, your concerns, your questions. We are all here to take all of it. Today with us, joining us virtually is Tolulope Oguntayo, and she's the founder, lead Footprints Africa, and she is a first responder to sexual and gender-based violence. And this is the 16 Days of Activism, day 2, and we are having her talk about the challenges so far, her experience, and the way forward in terms of responding to survivors of gender-based violence. All right, Tolulope, thank you so much for giving us how it has been so far, the journey so far, including the challenges and how you've been able to overcome some of this. Now let's talk about awareness. Let's talk about creating awareness. Now, how well have you created awareness in your immediate community and beyond, as regards to gender-based violence?
Okay, thank you so much. Well, it has just been through 4 means. One is programs. We regularly, host programs around gender-based violence discussion, sometimes on the X space, sometimes on having Instagram live. We host programs. We have also been able to come up with several projects. One of our big projects that we always execute every year is called Walk the Talk. We are going to be having the 3.0 by grace of God next year. And Walk the Talk has been hosted across 10 states in Nigeria. And we have been able to go to different communities. We speak to them, not just even schools. We also go to schools, right? We also go into local communities. We speak to them. We go to market squares because we believe that is where those mommy and daddies, that is where they are. So we try as much as possible to also visit the market square. We also use a poster. So we sometimes design posters. We put them in public spaces so that people can read. And we also try as much as possible to speak the language of the state. So for instance, when we went to Edo State for our Work to Talk, we ensured that we had to transcribe the English version of our posters into the local language that they speak in that community. Same thing for when we were in Osun State, we transcribe our posters into Yoruba so that people who are in that place can read and understand what we are saying. Then through outreaches, visiting schools, and also hosting some quiz session, debate session on some of these issues. We engage students, we engage their minds around gender-based violence discussions, and even beyond gender-based violence issues like that. We also try as much as possible to talk about the empowerment of women and girls so that people can understand that, okay, what are the causes of gender-based violence? Why are people being violated? For instance, the intimate partner violence, the high PV, for instance, is as a result of so many things. Poverty is part of it, women being dependent on their partner and they cannot leave their violent partner, and all of those things. So we try as much as possible to share this knowledge in our outreach.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much for how far you have gone. In the fight against gender-based violence. So as an organization now, how have you collaborated with security agencies and other respondents and stakeholders too, to provide support for survivors of gender-based violence?
For security agencies, we have been able to link ourselves up with some of the people that we know, especially I can say, for instance, for Lagos State, Osun State, and Ogun State, we have some security agencies that we can call when we say, okay, we need help in this place and there is an issue in this place. We can just call them, and even if they are not allowed to go beyond their jurisdiction, they can just share contacts that we can call, and we'll be able to collaborate with such person to respond to survivors of gender-based violence. For other responders and stakeholders, I remember there was a time like that. I was not in town and I could not even respond, and my teammates were currently working on something else. So we had to reach out to another organization, telling them that we need their help on so case, and they will just share a form with us. We'll fill the form, and then from there we'll track the process of the case at hand. Then sometimes I also try as much as possible to share some of these cases among my teammates, and also reach out to some people who I know are passionate about the cause but may not be within the organization. I remember one that I recently handled. I think that was like 3 months ago.
Okay.
I wasn't the one that handled the most of it. I just contacted a friend who was a lawyer, and she just helped me with the whole process of it. So I try as much as possible to keep touch with these people, and they also know what we are doing. They know what I am up to. They know why New Footprint Africa exists. So they are always a call away.
Okay. All right then. Thank you so much for that, Tolulope. Now let's look at the government. Yeah, let's look at society, religious leaders, parents, women and girls, because these are all stakeholders when we talk about giving support to survivors of gender-based violence, and they are also stakeholders when it comes to talking and spreading the awareness, on gender-based violence. So what are your recommendations when it comes to the government, society, religious leaders, parents, women and girls also?
Yeah, okay. So one of the challenges that I didn't remember to mention, but it came to mind right now,
Okay.
is um, one of the things I know for sure that we need to do is to be able to track these cases. It is a very big challenge in the gender-based violence space. Tracking cases. There are a lot of cases that get reported daily, but how many of them are tracked down to, ensuring that these people get the right help, get the right support? I know we have hundreds of advocates there. I know we have hundreds of organizations out there, but we need help in tracking cases. And I think this is something that the government can collaborate with organizations who are onto these issues, collaborate with them and help them with a sort of way where we can be accountable and be able to track this record easily, right? So that we don't just think that, oh, we are having a number of cases and then we are just putting the numbers out there, and it feels scary to other people, and they're like, okay, is there help? Are these people getting help at all? So we need that. Another is speaking up. We need religious leaders, we need the society to create an enabling environment where
Okay.
survivors of these issues can speak up. One of the issues that I am currently working on right now is this IPV, intimate partner violence.
Yeah.
It's so much that the society is blind to it. Like sometimes you see the society sometimes even enable it and say, okay, you have to stick with this person, you are married to this person, you are with this person has helped your life, and all of those things. And you see why people just keep quiet and not speak up at all. And even for those that even speak up, at the end of the day, they are blamed, or they are said to say, okay, they tell them probably you were not listening to your partner, and all of those things, all of those passing blames and everything. So we need to create an enabling environment for people who are probably in this situation. Another recommendation I would love to give is to create safe spaces, right, for gender-based violence survivors. One of the reasons some of my friends, right, have been able to inculcate their minds into this space. So even when they see a slight of it, when they see a slight that somebody is going through sexual harassment,
Yeah.
they are ready to help the person. I have been able to tell them that we need to be a safe space for other people, right? We need to be able to say, if you are going through this thing, you can come and meet me. I'm not going to blame you. I'm not going to say you are wrong or do all of those things. So when they even hear of it, they call me immediately and say, see there's an issue I think that you need to address, there's an issue this and this and that. So creating safe spaces for issues like this would help us, you know, allow gender-based violence survivors, allow them to speak up. People who are being victimized by this issue, they'll be able to speak up, they'll be able to say they want to seek the justice that they actually deserve. And the last one I will mention
Yeah.
is more awareness about the consequences of this action. A lot of times people think that, oh, when they go through, when maybe when you victimize somebody sexually or anyhow, you just go to the police and the police will they bail you on some amount or they bail you for free or something. I feel like the consequences of this action is not being spelled out enough. We need to be able to say, see, if anybody is being raped, this is the consequence of this. This is what, and I have a friend like that used to help me on one of those cases.
Okay.
Anytime we have an issue, because she's a lawyer, she will tell the survivor and say, see, this thing that has been done to you, let me show you, according to the law, this is what the person is going to face. In a way, it gives the survivor a moral boost, right? Saying that, okay, this issue that I have encountered, the person that made me go through this would be punished for it. And so it kind of helped the mind of the survivor. So I think that we need to create more awareness about the consequence. And I think this would also reduce the menace. When people know that, oh, if you do this, you are going to be punished for this action. People are able to say, I don't want to indulge myself in it. You can't just see, it's not normal for somebody to just go on the street and then bring out knife and kill someone. Why? Because there is a sense of responsibility according to the law for that. You know that if you kill someone, they're going to hold you and they'll take you to the prison directly. But it feels like this gender-based violence, the consequences of engaging in violence against women and girls is not well spelled out enough. People think that they can go scot-free. And I'm telling you based on what I hear on the street, right?
Yeah.
People think, oh, if I do this, I'm going to just go scot-free. There's nothing that you can do. You don't have evidence for it. So we need to spread the awareness about the consequence of gender-based violence more and more.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tolulope. Now, let's get your final words on this. What do you hope to see better by next year when we're coming here to talk about 16 days of activism? What would you want to see change? What's the change you would want to see? Or what's the way forward as regards to support given to survivors of gender-based violence?
One of the things I really would love to see is government agencies being more involved in gender-based violence issues, right? I feel like it's going to go a long way. And not like they are not part of it right now, but it feels like there are more pressing issues that they are attending to, and gender-based violence, it feels like it's coming down. One of the things that I personally is even planning to do in 2024 is to make people understand that every other thing that we may be passionate about, whether it's education, climate change, all of these things, when somebody is going through violence, they are not in their best mental state. And so they cannot even perform well. Whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in school, whether even in the house. So gender-based violence, it can be an issue that can ruin a lot of things. Even those things that we think that we are focusing on. We're focusing on decent work, we're focusing on all of these things. When somebody is going through violence, every of those things they can't contribute well to those things. So I really would love us to I really would love to see government engage more in gender-based violence issues. I see that a lot of I'm already seeing progress in it because I sometimes track those things. I'm seeing some progress, especially in some states. I don't want to mention them now because I'm working with some of them, but I see some progress in some of these states in Nigeria, right? But yeah, I would love to see more involvement of the government in gender-based violence issues. Talk to these people who are working on these things. Let know their problems and see how you can support and assist them.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tolulope, for being a part of this 16 days of activism as a first responder. Thank you so much. And we hear and we see all the work that you have been doing. So hopefully we get to see a different story by next year or before next year. We get to see a lot of change happen in terms of supporting survivors of gender-based violence. Thank you so much, Tolulope.
Yes, thank you so much, too. And thank you very much for having me. And well done on the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So enjoy the rest of the day, and of course, wish you all the best in the new week ahead and all the activities you have for the 16 days of activism.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you too for coming on the program. All right, so there you have it. That is Tolulokwe Oguntayo, and she's the founder, Lead Footprints Africa. And she has given us her first responder story, as an organization who have been supporting survivors of gender-based violence in all, areas that they can. At the end of the day, it's still on me and you. It's not just about they as the first responders. We in the community, what are we doing as a government, as other stakeholders? What are we also doing? So this is to draw our attention that there's a lot of work still to be done. All right, so today is day 2. Tomorrow is day 3, Monday, for the 16 days of activism. And of course, we will definitely bring up another first responder story here on Women Radio. So thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to the first responder story of the 16 days of activism. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. Do stay tuned to Women Radio, WFM 91.7. Have a blessed day ahead. Good afternoon.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. WFM 91.7.